won't discuss this album here, To Pimp a Butterfly. I've interviewed several people and got their take on it. I think it's a very prominent and significant album, but it's very polarizing. A lot of people have said different things. As you have seen, I've got different opinions on R. Lamar TV. But here's my opinion, the most important one. And I said this on Duke's Corner and got a big reaction out of it. I said that this, To Pimp a Butterfly, was the best album I had heard. This Kendrick gonna go down in history. That's all I'm saying.
Come on, can you listen to every track though? Every track back to back.
It's gonna go down in history. I don't make statements like that often.
Every track back to back. Kendrick Lamar new album.
Yes.
I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that.
You know what? Outside of Black and the Bear, like what's gonna call all right, man. I just think Straight Like a Dude, yeah, that too.
He good.
See, I'm from a different era, and it's like very different. See, to me, he separated himself from. It don't sound like anything else out there. He brought funk back. He brought live instruments back.
He sound like Outkast.
Yeah, he sounds like Outkast, like a one-man Outkast.
Come on, yo. Come on, yo.
I hear Outkast influence.
A criminal? He sound like Outkast.
I really can't compare Kendrick to.
That's the thing. You can't compare him. I do hear Outkast influence. I hear Pac influence. I hear a lot of influences in him.
I mean, he is different in a sense, but
he spazzes about saying stuff like that, like best of all time or blah blah blah. But this CD is remarkable. Let me tell you that. And there's a lot of people. I've shot footage. There's a lot of people that don't agree, and I think it's not for everybody. Again, I'm from an era where albums and themes and projects that we look back at like The Chronic. That was like a movie. Ready to Die was like a movie. Like albums really had body and story to it. So if you're not really from that era, I know a lot of younger folks don't quite get it. And again, like it's all really about you. It's relative to what you like. So for me to say it's the best album I heard in 10 years, like nobody can really dispute that, because if you listen to what I say, it's the best album I heard in 10 years. And so regardless of if me and you heard the same albums, it's still what I think. Again, that's what's most important. But To Pimp a Butterfly, like, I don't know how people can dispute it. First of all, I listened to this album and I was late. Like, I was late listening to it. Shout out to DJ Nice One. He seen me the day I bought it. I was late listening to it because I knew I had to listen to it like a project. I knew I had to like watch it like a movie, and I knew at that current time I was moving real fast, doing a lot of things, working. I didn't want to just like listen to 2 songs and then something else. But no, I wanted to really sit down with it and like watch it like a movie. I knew I had to really be into it. So trip to Asheville, North Carolina, I checked it out. By the way, shout out Seven Figs, my man Andy Killanakis. That's my dude. But this album, man, first of all, let me say the first 5 listens that I listened to this, and I listened to this a whole bunch of times, but the first 5 listens, I just listened to the music. I thought it was that good. I wasn't even really listening to what he's saying. I knew it was deep. I knew he was going somewhere with this album, but this is why it's so good. I just listened to the music because I was just so captivated by live instrumentation, the return of funk, and just the way he arranged it. It just wasn't nothing typical about it to compare to other hip hop albums. I know a lot of people talk about the albums that came out recently, J. Cole, Lupe, going back to Common, Big Sean, a lot of these albums. And they're good albums, but like this sets apart, man. Like it's, just the way it's arranged. And I'm just talking about musically right now, just talking about musically. So the first 5 times I just listened to the music, and I first 5 times I listened to the whole album, just like from top to bottom, and I was just getting a feel for how it sounded. Now, I'm a fan of the funk. I grew up, listening to DJ Quick, and of course Dr. Dre, and that West Coast sound. So if you didn't really grow up listening to that, you might not identify with that. But I like the funk. Also, Too Short, Digital Underground. So for me, like, I like a lot of albums, like a lot of classic albums to me aren't classic to everybody else. Again, I'm not calling this classic, but I pretty much am. But like, I go back to like Digital Underground, Sex Packets. Like, if you listen to that album, it sounds different. Like, there's nothing about it. Like, there's a lot of reasons why people like Outkast, and that was one of the reasons I was a big fan of The Love Below. It was like musically creative, and it challenged. It was risky to do that. But like, so there's live instruments on here. Funk, just, you can tell the live instrumentation, the way they got together. I've watched interviews where he talked about he would just, they would have these jam sessions. And just, to have George Clinton on the album, Ronald Isley on the album, I'm not gonna name everybody, those were like musical legends. And so the fact that he like spent, like he said, 6 or 7 months in them, you could tell like the album is an album. It has a theme, it has a vibe. Now, let me graduate and move on, because I can sit here and talk about this album all day. But, so musically, sonically, the soundscape of it is amazing. Then after I've listened to it about 5 times, I start listening to the actual songs. Like, I started listening to the lyrics in the songs. And like, one of the first songs, people don't really get into this song, but not one of the first songs, the first song, Wesley's Theme. Perfect example, man. Perfect example. Wesley's Theme. Like, I didn't even know the name of the song, because it's written so crazy on the back of here. Like, I can't read it or keep up with it. And it's not 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just like a bunch of scribbles. But and that again is not typical. So I gotta respect that. But so like Wesley's Theme, like, what is Wesley's Theme? Like, the song Wesley's Theme, first of all, it's real funky. Got George Clinton in it. But if you listen to the song, see, I really listen to music. I hope y'all know. Like, before I make statements about music, I really listen to it. So I listened to like Wesley's Theme, and I caught the groove and George Clinton on it, and it's real funky, groovy, kind of throwback sound. But when you listen to the song, from the start, he's talking about how when he gets on, I'm gonna act a fool, and he's talking about making all this money and just celebrating like, black people do that come from nothing. But the end of the song is like, Uncle Sam is like, yeah, and I'm gonna come get your money. I'm gonna tax you, tax day coming, tax day come, like that. Like, it's like, yeah, we partying, having fun, and like, they know we're gonna do that, and they're gonna get all the money back. Like, and so that's why the song's called Wesley's Theme. And anybody that knows about black culture, about Hollywood, Wesley Snipes got in a lot of tax trouble, and that's something that's not talked about. See, in hip hop, we talk about money a lot, but we don't talk about like why people go broke. And there's just a whole science to why we do. Why when you come from nothing, you get money, you spend it on things that you probably shouldn't spend it on, and just the whole self-worth thing. And it's just such a deep song that once I got past the grooviness and funkiness of it, like, I got into the words and I'm like, man, this song is saying a lot. And I'll tell you what, I've probably listened to this album, like I said, 8, 9 times now, and I still know I haven't caught all of it. And that's what, to me, it makes this album great, and one of the best albums I've heard, if not the best album I've heard in the past 10 years, going back to 2005. But, I can't break down every song, but like, just the fact that, the topics he did, like, what's my song called? The Worth of a Dollar. How much a dollar costs? How much a dollar costs? The beat is bananas. I love that beat. By the way, that's a song with Ronald Isley and James Fauntlery on it. Just amazing, the sound of it. And then like the whole thing about somebody asking him how much a dollar costs, and the song sounds like it's a bum asking him for $1, and he's talking about, no, I made this money, I need to keep it. And so that whole dialogue, which is really the song's about how much does it cost to sell your soul. And at the end, like the bum more represents like God, or his conscience saying, how much are you willing to do for $1? You know, and it's just dramatic. I mean, we could go on and on and on to Mortal Man, the last song with the Tupac interview, and how many people got Tupac vocals in their songs, but who did it like he did it, made an interview. So let me wrap up real quick. The reason why this album is one of the best albums I've heard in 10 years, because it has the elements that I usually have to go to several albums to get. Like, I think, like I said, Sex Packets by Digital Underground, great album. Why do I think it's a great album and a classic album? Because of the sound of it. But usually when I like an album because of the sound, like I'm compromising, like the lyrics aren't all that great, right? So like, you know, Like Water for Chocolate is one of my favorite albums too. But it was done by the Soul Aquarians, Questlove, Bilal, who's on this album, Erykah Badu. Like, the people who musically made up Like Water for Chocolate make that a great sounding album. And Common's a great lyricist, but he kind of toned it down lyrically on that album. So I usually, if I get a great sounding, great musical album, it's not great lyrics. I got both on these. Live instruments, I like the Roots a lot. Love the Roots live, seen them live, like their live CD. So, you know, I usually have to go to them for that. That's on here. I like hardcore hip hop. Hardcore hip hop, like boom bap type sound and stuff, is on here. West Coast funk is on here. Storytelling is on here. Deep lyrics, like, you know, a lot of people like Lupe Fiasco. Like, I do too. He's very deep, but I don't find his album like you can't just jam to it as well. Like, you can jam to this, and he's talking about some deep stuff. King Kunta is funky, and he's talking about some really, you know, deep stuff. Blacker the Berries, hardcore joint, talking about some deep stuff. You know, we could just go on and on and on, but like, all these elements I usually find in different albums, they're all on this album. Like I said, usually when you have like a really great sounding, like I thought Too Short had some really great musically sounding albums, early Too Short, not Shake That Monkey Too Short, but early, if you listen to that early stuff, it's real funky. But we all know what kind of lyrics Too Short had. But with this, it's soulful. You got jazz, you got poetry. I don't even talk about how the poem connects to the songs. Like, I don't know, like I feel like you can play this at a barbecue. Like, my dad likes this because it's funky and he grew up in funk. And like, it's just not compromising in any way. Like, I can jam and dance and rock. I can get ready and ride and go to the club with this CD. Like, everything, as well as deep messages. Like, so I just think he made a great album. So that's why it's one of the best albums I've heard in 10 years, is because it's got all the elements of all the reasons why I like other classic albums. It's all in this. And dude can rhyme. So like, I don't know where he missed anybody else, but you know, I'm a little more eclectic. I like music in general first, and then, you know, I love hip hop. But that's it, man. I'm through. Shout out Seven Figs again. Got your t-shirt on. Hope some more people check him out. He's a dope rapper. Andy Milonakis, or Kilonakis. Anyway, holla at y'all later. Love you. Peace. And I love hip hop.
Yeah.